Welcome everybody to a look at a new release from Hammer. So they've recently been going through their back catalogue and releasing their films on 4K in these really rather spectacular looking limited edition sets. So they've released the likes of Captain Cronus, Vampire Hunter, Shatter, and the Four-Sided Triangle as of late. But none of those films I've enjoyed enough to really justify the price of buying one of these. But this latest film, the Quatermass Experiment from 1955, is definitely a film that I feel is justifiable for the price because, as you might well know, I adore 50 sci-fi films, and we don't get that many 50 sci-fi films from the UK in these kind of big releases, usually American releases more than anything. So yeah, really excited that this has been given a release, and I'm looking forward to showing it. Yeah, so yeah, but the film itself was directed by Val Guest, who also did the sequel to this film that came out, I think, in 1957. He also did The Abominable Snowman, The Day the Earth Caught Fire, which is my favourite film of his filmography that I've seen so far, as well as The Full Treatment. So this is a sci-fi horror film, clocking in at 82 minutes long. Stars Brian Donlevy, who was in The Big Combo, Hangmen Also Die, Shakedown, and Kiss of Death. Also stars Jack Warner, who was in the original version of The Lady Killers, also from 1955, as well as The Blue Lamp. And finally, Lionel Jeffries, who was in First Men in the Moon, The Wrong Arm of the Law, and Eyewitness. You also have supporting roles from the likes of Flora Hurd and Jane Asher. So the first manned spacecraft fired from an English launch pad is first lost from radar, then roars back to Earth and crashes in a farmer's field, and is found to contain only one of the three men who took off in it, and he is unable to talk but appears to be undergoing a torturous physical and mental metamorphosis. So this is a really rather enjoyable low budget effort. I think it only had a budget of around £100,000, which, yeah, isn't all that much, quite frankly, for a film of this kind of scope. But nonetheless, it has a really rather fun plot, a good cast, adorable special effects, or practical effects, mostly in this case. I say adorable because you can see how they're done, but they're not so bad that they're egregious, and they're not so good that they're amazing, but they are, adorable in the fact that they're in between those kind of elements. And yeah, it also got solid pacing, a decent score, and it provides plenty of entertainment without outstaying its welcome. All the while, it neatly mixes both of its genres, has some well executed violence, and the cinematography is on point as well. So yeah, this pretty much covers every basis that a limited edition limited edition set, sorry, it should cover. So we've got 4K, we've got Blu-ray, we've got a lot of extras on the discs, and we've also got a lot of physical extras as well. So firstly, we have the box itself, which is really nicely done, really nice feel to it, nice printed of the title, which carries on to the side, and then on the back you got Hammer again, and then you've got another box inside, as you can see. Get it out, it is a little bit tight, like we've seen before previous sets, but still, once you do get it out, it is well worth the effort, because you also have the new artwork on the front there. And again, you have Quatermass Experiment on the side, and then you have the original artwork for the US release title version, The Creeping Unknown. It was released alongside The Black Sleep with Bela Lugosi and John Carradine as a double feature, but yeah, that's the title for the American release. And yeah, we also have a bunch of cards as well with shots from the film. Now, all of them have that on the reverse. And yeah, they are the original, the UK lobby card facsimile on each one. So yeah, that was actually 2 of 8, so I should really get the first one. So yeah, first one. So minor spoilers for the film itself, but there's nothing massive here that is revealed. And obviously you do have the credits on the bottom of each one as well, which I'm trying to not cover. So this is the scene with Jane Asher as a 9-year-old. She obviously would go into TV and more film roles, but yeah, that's her as a young girl. And finally, so yeah, all nicely done, all on thick card. Don't feel like they're gonna, easily bend or rip or anything like that. Then we also have a graphic novel version of the film, which is not something you often get in these kind of releases, but yeah, it is really, really nicely done. So this is, it says on the back, Des Skin's The House of Hammer magazine debuted in October 1976. Thrilling and traumatizing a generation of young readers in equal measure, adapting classic Hammer stories in comic strip format at a time when these films were largely unavailable on cinema and television. This Eagle Award winning publication is fondly remembered to this day. The Quatermass Experiment was adapted from the movie in issue 9 by Des Skin and Les Lively. Artist Brian Lewis's energetic artwork graphically enhances some of the more horrific elements of the plot while propelling the story onwards towards its powerful climax. The strip artwork for both stories was scanned and reformatted several years ago to digest size for a project that never happened. It is presented here for the first time. So, yeah, really, really interesting thing this, because obviously, to be honest, these comic strips or graphic novels or anything like that aren't something that I'd normally ever bother with, but yeah, it's just really, really well drawn, and yeah, captures the film in a lot of ways, and all in only 46 pages, I think it is 51. So yeah, and there's the end. So yeah, that is a really, really nice little extra. That is. Then we also have a massive booklet, which is called the Quatermass Papers, and it's Volume One. I imagine it's called Volume One because we're obviously having the sequel to this film also getting a release, which I am really looking forward to because I think that's a little bit of a better film. And yeah, on the back we have the following. So it says the definitive science fiction, science horror story, and the film that catapulted Hammer from a B picture studio into the majors, principally probably because it also got an American release. The Quatermass Experiment still retains its power to shock 7 decades after its initial release, painstakingly restored by Hammer in 4K from the original film materials. This classic thriller stars Brian Donlevy as the legendary Professor Quatermass alongside Jack Warner, Margie Dean, and Richard Wordsworth. And yeah, it just basically goes through the plot premise. 70 years after its initial theatrical exhibition, this limited collector's edition of the Quatermass Experiment celebrates one of Hammer's crowning glories and a high watermark for British film. And yeah, in this volume, we have a lot of write ups basically, like that, for instance. So yeah, we have the audience loved it. Can you sell it to film? Examining the transition of Neil's series to film. So this was originally a film series in 1953. There were 6 episodes. Unfortunately, 4 of them are lost. And minor spoilers for the future of what we're looking at in this set. 2 of them are on a disc here, but unfortunately we don't have the full complete series, which is a great shame when you consider how influential the series was. It's been highly regarded as an influence on future science fiction films like Alien and such. And then we also have a new peak of gruesomeness, the making of the Quatermass Experiment television serial, Hammer AD 1955, a look at the long-standing relationship between the BBC and Hammer Films, because that's where the original series was shown on the BBC. Then you got Stratospheric, the early career of Quatermass creator, scriptwriter Nigel Neal. Then you got a Danish publicity brochure, Hammer House of Harmony, a look at the short features Hammer were making following Experiment's production. A film version was only a matter of time, an in-depth 1995 account of the making of the Quatermass Experiment. Then you got a German press book, and you've also got It Would Qualify for the X category and for No Other, a detailed comparison of the TV series against the draft script and finished film, poster gallery, German program, credits, limited collector's edition content, and thank yous. So, yeah, a massive comprehensive book, quite frankly. And yeah, it's 176 pages, and that's really rivaling the likes of Second Sight with their massive books. So, yeah, quite a chunky release there, and a lot to go through, quite frankly. And there's even a ton of posters in the back here that for different countries and different, audiences and such. So, yeah, that's also really nice to see. I always like it when they find these posters from other countries because it does show what the priority was when it comes to said country and trying to sell said film. A lot of focus is on the guy's arm, which is understandable because that is a big part of the film. No idea where this one's from, or either of those are from, to be honest. I think Schlock is actually, or Shock even, is from Germany, but I'm not sure where the artwork for that one has come from. And yeah, we have more extras to go through, so we'll in terms of physical aspect. So we also have a double-sided poster, again on really rather nice paper, like the lobby cards are, which is always nice to see. So we have the American poster that we've already had a look at, which I really do enjoy, and then the UK version. Oh no, not the UK version. I can't. I think that might be Italian. I can't, in all honesty, say, but I do like the artwork. But yeah, I'm not sure if that's Italian or not. But yeah, it's nice that. To be honest, I would have liked the UK version as well, with the English title, but you know, can't have everything, can you? And we also have the discs. So there are 5 discs with this release, all done in this really rather nice little fold-out case. Which, yeah, I'll just get the whole thing out and just show you all of it. Really nicely done, that is. And these are the 5 discs. Let's just get them all spun around so they're all level. So yeah, first disc has, easier if I folded it up a little bit, I guess. First disc is has the widescreen 166 to 1 UK theatrical version and the full screen 137 to 1 as filmed version, both on 4K. The 166 to 1 version is the one I watched. Looks really rather great. Um, and then we have the widescreen 185 to 1 US theatrical version, also on 4K. I'd be interested to see what that one looks like. Both of those features are also on Blu-ray. And then we have, which I'll show you now. There they are. And then we have the surviving episodes of the Quatermass Experiment TV series on Blu-ray. And like I said, unfortunately, there only are 2 film episodes out of the 6. They are in standard definition as well, even though it is a Blu-ray disc. But I imagine they will look fine enough to view. But to be honest, outside of a little bit of curiosity, they aren't going to probably make much sense, given there are only 2 out of 6 episodes there. But in essence, the series was the film just out across half-hour episodes rather than the 82-minute film that we have here. So in terms of extras, well, we also have a lot. So let's take a look. So the original 35mm negative has been lost, and despite an extensive search, neither Hammer, the British Film Institute, or MGM can locate or say where the camera originals have gone. The Hammer Vault held a 35mm dupe negative, and the BFI held a 35mm grain master. But this was only for the US version of the film, The Creeping Unknown. After examination, it was confirmed that the element held by the BFI was the best available material, and that was also also the source for the previous transfer made by MGM in high definition. So there's a lot of detail here. The fine grain was scanned using an archive gate on ARRI XT scanner in 4K and restored extensively using Phoenix, Diamant, and PF Clean software. In addition to the usual dirt and defects, the main issue with the image was density fluctuations causing flicker throughout, which nobody wants. By careful processing, this effect is minimized, allowing for a more even, stable picture. HDR grading with Dolby Vision was carried out on the Resolve system. 3 versions of the film are presented here. I've already talked about those. So the US version has different main and end titles and has several scenes removed or edited. No complete version could be located in the UK, so MGM in Hollywood kindly allowed Hammer access to their fine grain, and this was transferred as a guide. The resultant capture was then used to produce a US version, utilising the restored 4K UK scans. Film elements for the original US title, Shock, was found at the BFI, and they were also scanned and graded in 4K resolution. No separate audio exists for the film, but there is a mono music and effects track. Oh, that's unfortunate. they've used AI a little bit in here by the looks of things, by using AI to strip out the dialogue from the final mono mix soundtrack, and then using the mix. They're using the music and effects for the surrounds. The new 5.1 sound mix was created. The original mono mix is also available for those that wish to replicate the original theatrical experience. There were no texted elements for the US version trailer on film, but there was a 35mm text background elements in the US, and these were transferred, and then text captions were recreated by MGM. So, yeah, it's a little bit of a shame they use AI there. I don't think I watched the 5.1 surround mix. Honestly, can't remember now. Um, but yeah, that is a little bit of a shame that they've done that and they've not just done it themselves. I can't fathom the idea of why you would prioritize using AI over a human hand, given that we can hear far better than an AI can. So that is a little bit of a shame. I don't think that was actually stated on the website, but regardless, yeah. There are also a bunch of subtitles here, so obviously there are English subtitles as well, but there are also French, Italian, Spanish, and German subtitles for all versions of the film. So if you need those, you've got them. We've also got new commentary with actor and comedian Toby Hadoke, Nigel Neal's biographer Andy Murray, and Wayne Kinsey, writer of numerous books on Hammer. We've also got new commentary with Stefan R. Bisetti, artist and film historian. New commentary with filmmaker and Hammer expert Konstantin Nazar, and writer-producer Dr. Steve Haberman. Then we've got an Archives 2003 commentary with director Val Guest and Hammer expert Marcus Hearn. So that's probably for the DVD release. And then we've got The Legend of Nigel Neal, The Creeping Unknown, Who Was Nigel Neal, Toby Haddock investigates a man and his influence in part one of a brand new two-part documentary. So that the second part will undoubtedly be on the sequel release. Then we've got Unstoppable, Unleashing the Quatermass Experiment, a close look at the making of the Quatermass Experiment, with contributions from John Deere, Stephen Gallagher, Toby Haddock, Wayne Kinsey, Andy Murray, and Stephen Volk. Then we've got the Quatermass Experiment, the remaining two episodes of the landmark 1953 BBC serial. Patient Zero, award-winning actor and writer James Swanton, who played Karun in the live 70th anniversary production of the film, examines the life and career of Richard Wadsworth. Then we've got Monstrous. Stephen R. Bassetti talks briefly about Phil Leakey and the make-up effects used in the film for a section trimmed from the audio commentary. Then we've got the Eric Winstone Band Show. That's a musical short from Hammer that played alongside the Quatermass Experiment at its August 1955 UK premiere. That's 29 minutes long, by the way, so quite a substantial extra. Then you got the Neil Tapes, a 2003 BBC documentary that explores the career of Nigel Neal, arguably one of the most significant writers of the post-war generation. Then you got Cartier and Neil in Conversation from the 2005 BBC DVD. Writer Nigel Neal and producer Rudolph Cartier reminisce about their work on the seminal Quatermass series. Then we got Making Demons from the 2005 BBC DVD, an interview with Jack Keane and Bernard Wilkie, visual effects pioneers at the BBC. Then we've got a 2000 interview with Val Guest from the Festival of Fantastic Films archive. Another interview with Val Guest from 2003, from the original UK DVD release of the Quatermass Experiment. Then you got Exhuming the Quatermass Experiment, a look behind the scenes at how the 4K restoration of the film was made. Then you got original trailers, foreign titles, a Super 8 cut down version, and the original BBFC censor cards for both the Quatermass Experiment and the Eric Winstone Band Show. Then you got an extensive image gallery of stills and publicity material alongside tracks from James Bernard's score. Then you got the Quatermass and the Pit Omnibus titles from the 2005 BBC DVD, the bespoke titles used for the Omnibus repeat edition of the third Quatermass TV series. Then you got finally TV series photo gallery from the 2005 BBC DVD, rare photos of the original BBC production. So that's a lot. That is a substantial amount. I think that's more than most of these limited editions, quite frankly, that we have ever got. So, yeah, it is a substantial release in terms of its physical aspects and the stuff on disc. A little bit of a shame that AI has been used in some regard with this, but at least you do have the mono audio mix to go for if you want to avoid the AI 5.1, which, to be honest, I have no issue with mono sound with these kind of films, to be honest. there's not exactly a lot of explosions or action scenes or anything like that. It's the 5.1 really isn't all that necessary to enjoy a film like this, quite frankly. If it was a much more modern film with, you know, much bigger production value and such, yeah, I could understand that. But mono mix for this and older films like film noir efforts, yeah, is perfectly understandable. So yeah, and it has to be a substantial release in terms of the extras because it's £60, which is obviously a lot, which is why I've held off on the prior ones that they've released because I don't enjoy them quite as much. But as a big fan of 50 sci-fi, I really couldn't, you know, pass up the opportunity to finally get this in my collection. So it's well worth getting if you're into this kind of genre of film or you enjoy this film anyway. Um, whether or not Hammer are going to release a standard version just with the, you know, the normal kind of 4K or Blu-ray case, I don't know. I don't think they've done that for the previous releases. If they have, they've completely passed by me. But it is still a fantastic film, and well, I say fantastic film. It's a 3.5 out of 5. I can see its flaws, but I do ultimately really enjoy it and have a massive amount of joy from watching it as well. So, yeah, and the release itself is excellent as well. So, it's worth the money as far as I'm concerned, but I can see why it wouldn't be for some. But as far as I'm concerned, yeah, it's a joyous film and one that I am really, really glad to finally own. So yeah, bit of a long video this one, but it is a substantial release at the end of the day, and I felt like everything had to be properly covered. But nonetheless, if you have seen this film before, let's hear your thoughts on it. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.